G'day, folks. After having a pretty long break from Age of Conan and releasing my initial reshade video and UI video, which I then changed the reshade again to what you see in front of you, as well as changing the UI again to what you see in front of you, I took a pretty long break from Age of Conan and something kind of called me back, and I felt like it would be really nice to come back and finally conquer Age of Conan, get to level 80, do some of the end game dungeons. Most of the dungeons are, I think, pretty much end game, or at least the ones that anyone's doing. And yeah, just enjoy this amazing game that I missed out on in my childhood because I just didn't have a powerful enough computer, like I said in the other video. I really love this game, but it was horribly optimized when it came out. I didn't have a very good machine anyway, and yeah, I never stuck with it after level 20. Age of Conan has also been a game, or at least the Unchained MMORPG, which I'm speaking about, has always been a game that's also had very few guides. It's been much this kind of game you need to figure yourself out and figure out how to do things yourself. And it's not going to hold your hand like in any way, shape, or form. There is like an in-game guide tutorial thing that kind of helps you out these days. I'm not even really sure how to access that. I think it's like somewhere in here or whatever. But I've disabled it so it doesn't even like pop up. When you start the game and you start playing, it'll pop up in the side there. There's probably a hotkey somewhere, but I'm not going to go into it. But what I wanted to show in this video is that I've been having a really good time playing the Unconquered mechanic in the game. Unconquered in Age of Conan is something that's been in the game, I think, for about 4 or 5 years. And basically, it is essentially like a hardcore mode that you've probably heard about on World of Warcraft and quite a few other games, where if you essentially, or even in RuneScape, where you essentially, if you die, your character is deleted. However, in this case, it's a bit more like RuneScape's Iron Man. So you lose your Iron Man status, or at least your hardcore Iron Man status when you die. So in this case, all you get is like the bragging right, 3 sets of armor, one at level 20, one at level 40, one at level 60, and then a set of how do I say, weapon skins when you get to level 80, which I haven't got there yet. I'm only level 60. I just got level 60 pretty much, as you can see, and I wanted to make this video. I was going to wait until I had at least achieved some level of success with this character after having died multiple times on other characters and not being able to even break level 40. I died on a level 38 on my Priest of Mitra, and that was pretty disheartening because I felt like at that time I had just run every character over and over again, and I was just making the same stupid mistakes and just over pulling and just kind of being stupid, like pulling group enemies that can just pretty much one shot you to try and do quest objectives, because I wasn't actually paying attention to reading the quest objective and putting on the disguise thing that the game gives you, so these insane group enemies don't just one shot you. um, but yeah, I've been having a really good time with the Tempest of Set, which is what this character is. He's a super, super fun class to play. Very spammy with these sort of main two abilities here, or three: Lightning Strike, Charge Blast, and Lightning Sparks. As you're sort of leveling up, he just kind of really does that. Really nice thing about him is you don't have to fight in melee. You can kite and kill many enemies before they even touch you. He's the one I've obviously had the most success with so far. Definitely one of the most fun classes to play without a doubt in the game so far. Much more so than other classes, like most other classes I've played. Not to say that they're all bad or anything. Two I haven't really touched, the Assassin and the Ranger. Um, but yeah, I've played pretty much. Oh, and I haven't touched the Demonologist. I barely touched the Necromancer, but I won't get sidetracked into that. But I wanted to show you guys the 3 sets of armor that you get, which are essentially the rewards for level 20, level 40, and level 60 without dying. Once you die, you don't get your character deleted, but they lose their Unconquered status and they just stop earning these rewards, these 3 armors you can get, and they stop like you also lose the ability to unlock the next tier. If you die at level 80, it doesn't matter. You've already unlocked everything. And it's totally fine to die at level 80. But you can't die for any reason, no matter what, be it lag or whatever. There's nothing that can save you from losing your Unconquered status if you die before level 80. And level 80 is when you get the last set. As soon as you get level 80, that's when you get the last set of rewards. So the first armor that you'll get at level 20 when you finish Tortage is this set. It has no helm. It looks the same on both sexes, and yeah, it's essentially pretty nice looking armor. It's this sort of kind of grey, white, and red. It's quite interesting, and yeah, it looks quite nice. You have these sort of sandals that you wear or whatever, and these sort of fingerless gloves. But yeah, it's a decent set of gear. The next one that you get at level 40 has a hat. It's this one, and it's arguably pretty much the same, except you now have a hat. It's basically no different. If I put this on and then I take, for whatever reason, there's like this thing. So as you can see, it's like slightly different here. You get the sort of armbands and the sort of, well, yeah, the armbands, and that's kind of it. Like you sort of wristband kind of things. But essentially, you kind of get these things. And this is sort of like the full look that you kind of get. Then, when you get to level 60, you get something completely different, which is this. Which is this really nice looking kind of Assassin's Creed Altair style kind of robe. With this sort of wrist guards and these really interesting looking gloves. And you have this kind of nice looking pattern. It almost looks like an eagle on the hood. I'm not really sure exactly. But it's really nice. It's a very, very nice set to get. And unfortunately, I can't show you the weapons you get. I'll make another video if and when I get to level 80 without dying. So far, I haven't had that many close calls. I've mostly just kind of been like, I've had to save myself a few times the health potion. Thankfully, Life of Set has saved me a bit. Tempest of Set doesn't have much healing power early on. Priest of Mitra is a lot better. If you want to play the absolute safest, but in my opinion, most boring class, and have almost no problem no matter how bad your gear is, you can just play the Priest of Mitra. Like, it's a total cakewalk. You can also do the Bear Shaman if you want a little bit more speed and damage, and still tons of survivability. But then you have to mix it up with a fair bit of melee attacks, and then also using your spells and making sure your build's pretty good. For anyone interested, here's my build so far with the Tempest of Set. There's 2 points I haven't put in at the moment. I need to figure out where to put those. I'm not exactly sure where it's going to be. I'm probably just going to put it in the Triumphant Life of Set because I'm basically trying to unlock this Summon Aura of Nebthu. But this is pretty much what I've done so far. Yeah, basically 5 points in Growing Storm, and then you work down here. This is the only one that kind of is a bit more of a team related like ability, but you also need to put a point somewhere so that you can like unlock the next line. You get to a point where you you have 4 here and then 1 there is 5, so you need to do that to unlock the next stack anyway. Yeah, generally first I started off here, and then I went with Set's Empowerment. So 5, 5. This was the next one because it's really nice to have an unstun. I have that on Q. It hasn't saved my life just yet because it doesn't unstun you from knockbacks or from fears, but it does obviously like clear you from being stunned, which is quite nice. Hasn't, like I said, saved my life too bad or anything yet, but it's still pretty handy to have. Then Spark Storm. After that, I'm pretty sure I went 5 here. I went to Storm Crown, Storm Throne. And then I'm pretty sure I went to Storm Regalia, and then 4 in Faithful of Set, and then I pretty much just worked my way down this way. And now I am not sure of where I'm going to put the next 2 points. I don't really want more spells in my rotation at this stage, so I'm probably just going to pick something that buffs what I already have. This is not by any means obviously an endgame build. Endgame builds, there are a lot of things that I haven't even touched. These are all team-based things, like for in raids with groups of people. I haven't taken any of them. I'm doing this solo, so it'd be just a total waste. And as I understand, you never take anything from the general tree. It sucks. Like there's never even in the endgame. You don't even bother. This increases your damage and healing by I think like a maximum of like 10% at the 5th level or something, or 15% or whatever. Maybe you would take that. I don't know. I'll talk about builds in another video. So yeah, this is already a bit long, and I'm not exactly a YouTuber that keeps his videos short. I like to talk. So yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Oh, and for the AA, this is what I've been working on. I'm still waiting another 243 hours. Like I have membership, so yeah, I'm still waiting on 243 hours for pressing strikes. But the only two that are really useful early on, and these are mega useful, is pressing strikes, especially for your hit rating, is so important. And decisive strikes gives you a little bit of extra base spell damage. The rest I wouldn't even touch. I have some points. I guess I can probably put this in decisive strikes, but it's probably not really worth it. So I think I'll just keep my expertise points. But yeah, if you have a membership, you can pay with time as opposed to points. Otherwise, it's going to be a freaking long time before you can max this out. So yeah, and this still takes a long time. Like this is something like EVE Online style thing. Obviously, nowhere near as long as EVE Online, but yeah, it'd probably take you a month or two of having like of having membership to do this like all the time. Like 240 hours is essentially 10 days. Like it's a lot of time. But yeah, it's worth it when you don't have to pay for all of these like crazy amount of of stuff. I think you can also pay the remainder with points. So I could essentially pay 14 points. It would have originally costed 20, but I could pay 14 to do it immediately. I'm not sure then what each point kind of works out to in terms of hours, like if you do it via time, but that will be maybe for another video someday as well. And if you have the membership, you get a 30% XP bonus. That's for everything, including quest XP, which is awesome. It's a flat 30% on each kill, each quest you do. It's really good. Unfortunately, if I can give you an example, the experience pots are only like they're only for kills. I think I can find, I can't remember exactly what it was here, but maybe it's too far back. But at one point I was getting like, yeah, quite a lot before I turned in all of these quests. My experience potion just ran out, and I was getting basically 3,000 XP per level, and then it dropped to pretty much 1,500. But it's been a while, so maybe it's far back in the chat. But yeah, you get half as much XP for kills. There's also a cool dungeon you can do, which gives you some candy, which I haven't done on this character because I don't want to risk dying. Even though if I could do it even once, it would just give me enough candies to last me the entire leveling experience. Each of those candies, as I understand, gives you a flat 50% bonus experience to everything, to quests, to leveling, like to killing, everything. So if you add that to the 30% membership bonus, it's 80%, which means you essentially almost level twice as fast no matter what you do, which is super nice. As for how long it took me to get 60, I'm going to say about 4 afternoons. It's like 1 afternoon to 20, 1 afternoon roughly sort of to 40, and then I've played still pretty hardcore, but it's kind of like roughly 1 afternoon after 40 per 5 levels. So like every sort of 5 levels from 40. And that's also because a lot of running around and then choosing where to level and stuff. And I'll make a different video on that. But that's pretty much how it's been going. Thanks for watching, and yeah, hopefully I get to 80 and I can show you guys what the weapons look like. And yeah, seriously, come enjoy this amazing game. It is so much fun. It's like old school. The only other kind of game I can think of that even has kind of like this sort of vibe is Classic WoW, which I could not be bothered even touching because of what Blizzard is essentially doing to it. And the other one is All Odds, which I'll argue is a little bit either too pay to win on the free server or too slow on the paid server. I just couldn't really find it very, very fun on the paid server. It's maybe, yeah, I don't know. It's essentially, I think, a little bit too slow. Even with the auto run, and the fast mounts and stuff, I found it a bit of a slog. So yeah, this has been a fair bit more fun. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.